Daniel chapter 3, lesson 4, part 1. The narrative in chapter 3 continues with the exploits of Nebuchadnezzar. The original writing of chapter 3 is in Aramaic, Chaldean. Actually, the Aramaic started in Daniel 2:4. The Aramaic language starts after the introduction. Then the astrologers answered the king in Aramaic. Aramaic is the language used through chapter 7. Daniel 1:1 into 2:4 is in Hebrew. Daniel 2:4 through 7:28 is in Aramaic. Daniel 8:1 through 12:13 is in Hebrew. It is centered on Daniel's experiences, with Daniel apparently writing directly. There are a lot of portions starting in chapter 8 that begin with I, Daniel. Nebuchadnezzar had a large image, statue, icon, idol built. Do you remember his dream of a large image? Same word here as in chapter 2, of gold, silver, bronze, iron, and iron clay. The gold head represented Nebuchadnezzar and Babylon, but Babylon would be supplanted by other empires. Evidently, Nebuchadnezzar didn't like to think about that. He had a 90-foot image built of gold, no silver, bronze, or iron in his image. Daniel 3:1. Nebuchadnezzar the king made an image of gold whose height was 60 cubits and the breadth of it 6 cubits. He set it up in the plain of Dura, in the province of Babylon. Daniel 3:2 and 3. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king sent to gather all the satraps and deputies and governors and judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the provinces, to come to the dedication of the image which Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. Then the satraps and the deputies and the governors and the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the provinces were gathered together to the dedication of the image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. And they stood before the image that Nebuchadnezzar had set up. Further, whenever music was played throughout the kingdom, everybody was required to fall down and worship the image. I imagine everyone would need to bow down toward the location of the statue, which was located in Dura. Daniel 3:4 and 5. Then the herald cried aloud, "To you it is commanded, peoples, nations, and languages, that whenever you hear the sound of the horn, flute, zither, lyre, harp, pipe, and all kinds of music, you fall down to worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king has set up." To not worship was to be put to death in a fiery furnace. Daniel 3:6. And whoever doesn't fall down and worship shall the same hour be cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. This really reminds me of Revelation chapter 13, the image of the beast that was set up for worship. But to worship anything other than the one true God would not be tolerated by believing Jews. Daniel 3:7. Therefore at the time when all the peoples heard the sound of the horn, flute, zither, lyre, harp, pipe, and all kinds of music, all the peoples, the nations, and the languages fell down and worshipped the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. Daniel's friends, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, refused to fall down and worship the image. Some astrologers, Chaldeans, told the king of their refusal to worship the image. Daniel 3:8 and 9. Therefore, at the time certain Chaldeans came near and brought accusation against the Jews. They answered Nebuchadnezzar the king, O king, live forever. Daniel 3:10 and 11. You, O king, have made a decree that every man that shall hear the sound of the horn, flute, zither, lyre, harp, pipe, and all kinds of music shall fall down and worship the golden image, and whoever doesn't fall down and worship shall be cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Daniel 3:12. There are certain Jews whom you have appointed over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These men, O king, have not regarded you. They don't serve your gods, nor worship the golden image which you have set up. The king was furious. He had the three brought before him. He gave them a chance to fall down and worship the image at the playing of the music. Daniel 3:13 and 14. Then Nebuchadnezzar, in his rage and fury, commanded to bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Then they brought these men before the king. Nebuchadnezzar answered them, Is it on purpose, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that you don't serve my God, nor worship the golden image which I have set up? Daniel 3:15. Now if you are ready, whenever you hear the sound of the horn, flute, zither, lyre, harp, pipe, and all kinds of music, to fall down and worship the image which I have made, well, but if you don't worship, you shall be cast the same hour into the midst of the fiery furnace. And who is that God that shall deliver you from my hands? The end of Lesson 4, Part 1.